Now we're live.
We're live.
We're live.
We live?
We live.
Nice.
We live.
Nice.
Oh, wait. Rec Room Games is live now.
It's still streaming, but they're shutting off soon. Don't worry. We're good.
Was that
We're
the
good.
original? Oh, that was the other one, right?
That was the other one. Yeah. Because
Okay.
there was
I just
there's
wanna
like
see.
a delay, so it kind of like.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, your NDI moved, but then it flipped right back.
Nice.
So I just want to confirm that we are live on Honeypot Marketing. I'm saying, and April's saying hello, so I'm going to say we're
April.
live.
Hey, April.
Hey, April.
We're on live. Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Okay. So we are live at
Hey.
the Hive, not at the Hive. Sorry, this is Dan's first day, producer Dan, with the new Streamlabs set up from my place. Yes, and we are indeed live now. Woo! That was a great half hour of getting all things set up. Welcome, everybody, to episode 126 of Live Not at the Hive. I'm Dan Adelko.
Matt Stefanich, producer Matt, or not producer Matt.
I'm Justin Maciel.
And this is episode 126. And so what are we talking about today, folks?
Yeah, so for this live, we have quite a bit to talk about for what's new. Again, a little bit on how small businesses and businesses in general are coping with COVID-19, but also some cool new tools that YouTube is launching, some special offers from Google that are really important for small businesses, and Facebook is actually doing a lot right now to kind of increase the integrity of the platform now that more people are actually using it than probably the past couple months. And then for what's working, we're going to move into kind of understanding how customers' needs are evolving right now and what it's going to be looking like post COVID-19, right? So kind of going into brand purpose rather than brand identity, etc. So yeah, it'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. To start with, what was the... Oh, geez. Sorry. That's my phone. That was my phone.
Oh,
This is what you get. This is called organic. That's what I call this. This is like organic production.
yes.
And we like it. So why don't we just start out? What were the highlights of your guys' weeks this week?
Not much, to be honest. I think it's pretty much. I mean, I've definitely fallen into a rhythm and a routine of the kind of day to day. But yeah, I think it's just keep on keeping on right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of clients are still pulling out their like COVID-19 messages, so that's been a big thing this week. But
For sure.
yeah,
Tons and tons of
keeping on, which is nice. Doing everything online.
Right on. Yeah, tons and tons of messaging, lots of communication, right? Lots of social. I think we talked about it last week where social was really exploding in terms of obviously people's use. So again, just for businesses that are looking at this, especially the professional services, right? It's a big one. Doctors, well, obviously doctors, but like accountants, real estate agents, mortgage brokers, accountants, everybody that's got news and updates, especially in the financial sector. I know across the country, it's been a big thing. Oh, it looks like we lost Justin a little bit there. We'll just wait for hopefully him. Justin, are you still with us with audio?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You are now officially a Skype logo.
Lovely.
So now it's an audio podcast.
Okay, sweet.
Matei is saying Justin loved the image behind you. Yes, that was pretty dope.
Yeah.
Hopefully your camera will recover itself. Hi, Matt, Matei, Courtney, everybody else watching right now.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Yeah. Let's see here. So we've got a total of 16 people watching, so please feel free. We've got a multi-chat going. Yash is saying hello, gentlemen. Hi, Yash. Hope you're doing well
Yash.
during the lockdown.
Yash.
Yeah, so just a lot of social messaging, lots of information, how to deal with things. On the financial side, a number of things came through SEBA for the Canadian Emergency Business something or other. SIBA. That started getting actually distributed now. So businesses are getting out of, seeing politicians talk about it to seeing the CRA and the banks actually dispersing it, which is nice to see.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just a couple of things on that point on the communications. I think it's great that Justin's a Skype logo right now.
I know.
Listen,
At least you can
I'm
still hear me,
leaving
that's
you on as even a Skype logo.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that. I can deal.
Do you need to call back in though? Or what do you need to do?
It says it's working on my end, so I don't know what's happening.
Okay.
Might be an NDI issue.
If I call back, would it mess with everything?
Oh, probably.
Possibly. Let's not. We'll see if it catches back on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Courtney says, my favorite thing this week was Instagram added 2 new stickers to help businesses, gift cards, and food orders. Yeah, for sure. We're going to be talking about quite a bit of that in what's new.
Yeah, because Facebook added some too.
Yeah, absolutely. So why don't we jump right in here?
Cool.
And let's do the Facebook adds new care emoji reactions on its main app and...
Yeah. So I think I kind of wanted to talk about this, not so much like, yeah, it's a new emoji or a new reaction that people can use on Messenger and on the platform, but I think there's really an underlying message here of, look, past couple months, like I said earlier on the live, I don't think too many people in certain demographics were using Facebook as their primary platform. However, over the past several weeks, Facebook has been pretty much the primary source of communication for a lot of people, whether that be posting on their walls or on their timelines now, whether it's video chatting on Messenger, etc. So I think the platforms are really kind of going through a subtle evolution, taking a little bit of responsibility onto themselves. I know the past couple of years there's been controversy after controversy, but I think right now it's kind of like, look, like, we have an obligation. Social media is almost an essential service right now. It really is, in order to keep communication between people. And I think by adding this new care emoji, this new care reaction, it's adding that an extra little touch or a little bit something more personal, especially around these times, rather than giving someone a thumbs up or something like that when they're kind of reaching out. We can kind of make sure that we actually display that we care about them. And I know it's so silly to think that it's an emoji, but to be honest, right now we definitely need stuff like that.
Well,
this is kind of like great evergreen content as well. Like, I'm sure they'll leave them.
Well, and
I
think the thing is here is if we kind of like just zoom in a little bit on some of this. There's a few good points being made here is that these things do seem trivial and they do seem silly, but Facebook really is. And I think the interesting thing especially where it's the kind of okay boomer social media platform. The reason is that your grandma's probably on Facebook, right? Your mom, your aunt, your uncle, all of those people being on there makes it an ideal, easy way to keep connected. And especially for the elderly that may be, isolated, feeling really isolated, or people, we've had these discussions kind of internally, I've got 4 kids and a wife here, so I kind of, it's not exactly peaceful a lot of the time, and that's okay. But, if you live alone, it's a different dynamic. So then these things become kind of integral parts of people's lives, and something very simple like this is to add these types of things. So, same thing, and a lot like Courtney just mentioned with Instagram adding 2 new stickers to help small business gift cards and order food. Actually, I did see a story, and I wish we would have had it on here. It was kind of a mainstream media story. But it was, I think a guy in the UK had spent £100,000 and sent an Iowa town £100,000 worth of gift cards for their town.
Wow.
Like he found those people, so they could support their local. So it was kind of nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I've seen I'm part of a couple like small town kind of Facebook groups, and a lot of them have like rotating schedules going through of when people can order food from the small businesses. Now it's a smaller town, like it's not like Kitchener or Waterloo, but I mean I think it's really nice to see that people are using these platforms to really kind of help each other out, whether it's keeping businesses afloat, helping one another, checking in, letting people know that they're still open, etc. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really nice to see. I think this is the silver lining on COVID-19 and social media platforms for sure.
Well, yeah, and I think there's
totally.
there's a lot of air quotes good stuff coming out of this. How people are coming together, supporting local businesses. We're seeing a lot of businesses offering each other free advice and free services. And I think all of that is actually extremely important to do, both locally and at different levels across the board. Cool.
Absolutely. Cool. And I guess we can. I guess while we're on the topic of Facebook, we can segue into our next article where it's Facebook's starting to alert people who have interacted or shared false, misleading, or fake information regarding COVID-19. Facebook's actually going to be reaching out to you, whether it's a notification or a bot message, just letting you know that you've interacted with one of these posts. Because I know we were talking a bit about it before we went live, Dan, but I think like everyone knows the controversy of politicized fake news and things like that on social platforms for the past number of years. And I think with those, it doesn't have like a direct impact on people's lives. Yes, it does have an impact on your life. However, if you're spreading misinformation on whether or not you should be getting tested for COVID-19, whether you can make a home remedy for COVID-19 that's going to cure you rather than going to the hospital, these have like direct impacts on people's lives. And I think that Facebook recognizes this, and they recognize that, look, if someone goes and sees a post and taking a tablespoon of this or that at home rather than going to the hospital, they could possibly die.
Yep.
And I think it's a great direction that they're moving on. I think this is almost a transition, and we might be seeing it more and more for them reaching out about fake news. But definitely, I see this as a good thing about the underlining message of evolution that these platforms are going through because of COVID-19.
Yeah, I definitely agree with like the fact that like I think they're definitely going to use this going through, especially when it comes to like politics in the future, because a lot of like voting and stuff has been canceled because of COVID right now. And the fact that we know that they are capable of this is like really reassuring that once, like, let's say political is the best kind of example, is that once kind of fake news stuff comes, they can be like, no, this is wrong, and actually notify people, which is really great.
Well, and I think it's another thing.
I wonder. Sorry. Go ahead.
How rude of you.
There's a bit of delay.
I know there's a delay. That's Joe Rogan's big problem with NDI is the delay. He hates it. Yeah. Sorry, I was going to say that although I think a lot of people possibly watching this stream are probably more well informed than a lot of people out there. And this type of misinformation is extremely dangerous, right? Because people here, so there's a list of them here, but being able to hold your breath for 10 seconds or more without coughing or feeling discomfort does not mean you are free from the coronavirus and other lung diseases. These are dangerous messages, especially for people that are at risk and that may not be as well informed, and then see it on a social media network and then feel like, and you've seen this fake news, some of it presents itself in a way that makes it look legitimate, but it's not. So yeah, it's definitely an important thing to kind of keep top of mind. For sure.
I will be interested to see if Facebook starts cracking down on events that are protesting the COVID-19 isolation and quarantines. I know in the news the past couple of weeks we've been seeing, I don't know if you guys have seen, but there's been stories where people are actually organizing themselves to step outside in mass groups in front of city halls and things like that to
Michigan
protest. Yeah. So I think it'll be interesting to see if Facebook actually furthers this and starts maybe cracking down on events that are created on their site in order to organize these demonstrations.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But
That's a
that's
great
very
point,
touchy.
actually.
But that's very touchy. But they might like
Hard to
Yeah,
say.
it's again
I wouldn't put
controversial,
it past them if they're doing stuff like
Yeah,
this. Like, I wouldn't put it
yeah,
past them like shutting down a group if they find it's like making
Mhm.
like a big event and it's still happening, right?
yeah. Because you're putting people's lives at risk. Like this isn't a joke. It's a pandemic. Let's not kid ourselves, right?
Yeah. Hey, Justin, why don't you try in your
Sure.
Skype turning off your camera and turning it back on? See if that'll work for you. It's right in the
Yeah,
middle
because it was
icon on your
working.
Yeah.
I have our little chat bubble open, Justin, and I can see you, like in the Skype platform, but I just don't see you on the stream for the NDI source.
Yeah, which is so weird. I just did it. Did it work?
We'll see if it comes through. Sometimes it's a little bit delayed, but either way, we
Yeah,
got
so
you.
weird because it is working like in my like actual Skype, which is crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, because I see you right now. That's weird.
Yeah,
Okay.
we won't mess with it. We're fine for right now. Okay, moving right along to the next one here. This is a good one for businesses, especially for businesses that may have been running Google Ads through since January 9th, 2019. That's the thing. Google has got $340 million in ad credits, which seems like a big number. It's probably not that big, but every little bit can help, especially if you're a business and you're looking to, they want to allow small businesses and medium-sized businesses to stay in communication with their customers. So I've got
sure.
got some of the details up here.
And I think before we like get into the details, I remember a couple months ago we were talking about how like there's companies that spend millions of dollars on advertisements for Google. There's huge accounts, but for the most part, the backbone of Google Ads, their revenue and the ad spend is small businesses. They make up a vast majority. So I think it's great that Google's kind of reaching out and giving these people ad credits, because I know at least for Google My Business as well, filtering out content like updating your website addresses, it's actually taking a lot longer than it normally does. It usually takes maybe a few days, but now it's taking potentially a week even that I've saw.
Yep.
So it's definitely nice that they're helping compensate for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean,
This
look.
is,
No,
like,
sorry. Go ahead,
yeah,
Justin.
Sorry.
Yep.
This is like very much a time too for like people to really delve into like brand awareness, because they're worried that like since they're closed that they're worried that like people will forget about them once this is all over, once everyone's like has money because they've been like saving it or like hoarding it, or like they're like ready to actually buy things after. They want to still stay like top of mind, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's it, right? I mean, there's some businesses that simply can't afford it, but could really benefit from having some amount of promotion to get in front of their customers. It's a super important thing. So part of it is you have to be able to you have to have been advertising on Google Ads. Google Ads, it isn't really a thing that you apply for. It's dispersed to you in your Google Ads account. Yeah. What else?
Now, do they have to use it right away, or can they wait a bit?
It will expire December 31st, 2020. So you have the year.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Once everything lifts, I'm sure they'll see a surge of everyone using it.
Oh, for sure. It's going to be really competitive.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's probably going to be a big deal, because I bet you no one's going to use it for like a couple months, and then once this lifts and they're prepared to open up their stores, everyone's going to be betting on the same stuff at the same time.
Yep. Absolutely. So let me just pull this back here. Sorry, I'm rearranging windows. I was trying to find a picture of you, Justin, to put up.
Fair enough.
This is like a hot production and like getting into it. I threw the link in the into the chat on both Periscope and on Facebook. It looks like it both went through. What else is in here? The ad credits also work across all channels, so it's basically free money in your account, and once it's there, you will you just have access to it. It's basically a prepaid amount on your account. So a little bit, again, every little bit helps.
Yeah,
Sure.
and very user friendly.
Yeah, and it goes under the underlying message with that people are going to remember what you've done throughout COVID-19 for businesses, and it's going to be people are going to show vast amounts of loyalty if they're taken care of, especially through these trying times.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. So on to the next here. YouTube has launched a video builder for a lightweight ad creation tool. Now, the caveat on this, it's a little bit like promo.com if you've used that. There's a whole bunch. Flyers, another one. But it's they're billing it as and this isn't bad, like a tool for businesses with less media experience. I mean, I think for some people, even something like promo, they've never heard of it. It's an additional cost that you don't want to absorb these days. And I think it's helpful, especially if you pair that with the ad credits that are potentially coming in. Across that. One thing I would say is that if you are looking to communicate with your customers, right? So you're like, if you're running these campaigns, I would suggest brand and visibility campaigns, right? Maybe a personalized message to your customers in a geographic location. A great way to do that is YouTube pre-roll ads. So if you've got a small business, like we don't necessarily have people like Justin on the team, right? To help you with your creative and your design and all of the multimedia stuff. It can be really confusing and overwhelming.
Yeah.
Right. So just
for sure.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, like especially now, I think in terms of video ads, a lot of people they're spending more time on YouTube, watching videos, watching content, but also I think on Google Trends I saw earlier today, tutorials for tools and things like that have surged quite substantially. So I think that them launching this coincides with the increase of people on the platform watching these tutorials. So I think it gives businesses, and especially if you're a MarTech business, gives you a unique opportunity to start marketing your product while people are consuming these tutorials at a quite increased rate.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I've been seeing like a lot of ads too of like classes and schools and like all these like online courses to take.
Yep.
And they're like double ads on YouTube. Like they're really throwing their money into it.
Yeah. So just an example for small businesses, or like I said, real estate agent, mortgage broker, accountant, restaurant owner, everything. You got a 6 or 15-second video window in there. Even if it's a personalized message from you as a business owner to your audience, to that audience, and just saying, we're still here. We're here to help. You can't wait. We're looking forward to getting back. If you're selling gift cards for your business, that could be a great way to appeal for some support.
Yeah.
Do a special.
If you're offering a new service.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're offering a new service during these times, it's a great way to let people know, your customers know, that you're offering this new service in light of COVID-19. It's perfect.
Yep.
And another thing that you can do, again, this is just a tip for business, and I repeat this kind of every week just in case we've got different people watching, is if you are a small business, you've got a phone, you can go live. Gary Vaynerchuk is actually kind of drinking his own Kool-Aid. He does tea with Gary V every morning. He does it with only his phone and headphones. He's not pulling in this big team of people like he normally has. And like literally all you need is your phone. Get the right lighting.
Yep.
Go live for 20 minutes. Do it a couple of days a week. Answer some questions from people. Give them that update. It'll record like on Facebook. It'll record as previously recorded live. So you've got a bit of a library, shareable content to use with people. Like look at us right now, and you're seeing it all over. Justin's camera for whatever reason isn't connecting, and that's okay.
Yeah, decides he's not going to work.
It is what it is, right? I mean, you're seeing this on CNN and Fox News and whoever, CBC. You're seeing these. I mean, I was watching CBC, a Justin Trudeau daily press conference a couple days ago, and I mean their audio went 7 ways to Sunday. Like they changed the sources like 7 different times during the live.
The feed cuts out and things like that. It's difficult, and I think a lot of people are trying to get around these technical issues. One thing that I'll say before our next point, I mean, I think a lot of businesses, when they go live right now, they're intimidated, and I think a lot of people get discouraged because their first live video, they might not have as much audience members in the live video or people chatting. Yep. And I think it's perfectly normal. What happens is with the algorithm that I found is the more that you go live, the more people see your live stream. It's just a natural thing. Facebook will see that, hey, Matt's been putting up a live video every Monday or every other day for the past week and a half, right? Yep. They're going to put my video higher up in people's news feeds, and you're going to be getting more people in your audience asking questions and tuning in. So I think if you're looking at starting a live video or you're intimidated at doing so, just start and just be consistent. Yep. And that's probably my number 2 tips to people is just start.
More comfortable with time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, that's it, and it's the what I like to say is, for example, on this one, this is the first time I'm multi-streaming to my own personal Facebook account as well. Is, you can read every book about playing the piano until you actually start pounding the keys and playing the piano. You're never really going to become better at playing the piano.
And
you know what? Things will happen with live streams. They will, cameras will stop working. Internet connections get a little flakier. These are things, they happen, and especially when what we're doing right now is actually from a production standpoint, it's fairly complicated. There's a lot of places where things can go wrong, but that should not stop anybody from just jumping on with their phone. Just use the tools that are given to you and really be okay with being simple and organic. And just the most important thing right now is really sincerely communicating. I think it's a unique time for businesses to be able to do that. Whether you're the owner of the company or whether you're a director at a company, whatever it is, I mean, you've got a great opportunity here.
For sure.
Yeah. Of course.
Stacey's saying
you said before, everyone's struggling. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
They are.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, everyone's struggling. Even the big news stations, things like this have been happening where cameras stop working, stuff like that. Everyone's going through it. Can't wait for 5G, I guess.
Do you remember that one video that went viral? I think it was a couple of years ago, but one guy was in his office during a one-on-one interview, and his kid just walks into the room behind him, and he's a thing, and then his wife had to come and grab the kid, and they were talking about something serious. I can't forget, but yeah, it was a lot of that.
It was peace in the Middle East or something like that.
Yeah.
That is life with a 4-year-old. That is, to me, I was like, that's totally normal. That's like my house. Great. Awesome.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are taking it in stride too. They understand, there's going to be a dog barking in the background or something happening, and we all just kind of understand this is what the situation is.
Yeah, or a cat jumping on your keyboard.
Or the NDI video stretching your arms out like it's doing right now. I mean, hey.
Yeah.
Stacey's saying you're keeping it real, guys. We like to. It also creates a two-way conversation and lets your customers know that you're there for them, and that's absolutely important. And I think I saw a reference to an article. I mean, this is something we've been talking about for several weeks now. Didn't we have one about that? Marketers are using time to build community. So why don't we jump into that? It's a good segue. And I think, not just marketers, but businesses. You pivot to create value and awareness and, creating resource centers for your customers that are related to you. There's a bunch of different examples in here. I don't think we need to go into.
It's a very specific. They give some very specific examples, which is great. But I think we've touched upon quite a bit of them already. But I think the key ones that I really like are a little bit further down on this list.
Yep.
Trivia, happy hours, games, and keeping the company morale high. I think that's very important right now, especially with one another. I know at least with us, I found that sometimes our stand-ups in the morning are a little bit more lax and things like that. And I think that's great because look, like I think right now it's a little bit difficult for people. So I think having a little bit of like morale boost, a little bit of like kind of fun and things like that to kind of open up is great. But also I think at the bottom here they talk about, I think it's the last point, but availability on the weekends. Now I mean, you're not working through it Saturday and Sunday, but I think a lot of right now people are having unique work hours. Like people have lives away, right? If you have kids, Dan, you might have to like step out for like maybe like 20-30 minutes to go help your kids, you know what I mean? So you might be kind of jumping in sporadically, right? So I think it's important because clients really don't know sometimes who to turn to on the weekends. Like they might be jumping in on things throughout the weekend to try and catch up, right? And if they have an issue and they don't know who to turn to, we're available for them.
That's right. And look, I know the whole team here does whatever is needed to be done. Again, some of the things that we do are not 9 to 5. Social media management, for example, especially right during these times. So it is fairly common. Here's a little tip. What I try to do, obviously, if it's an emergency, it's an emergency. But what I will do is I do check in on a couple of regular times during my weekend so that I'm not obsessing over the weekend and then you burn out. But
exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Give yourself some time to check in, or also let clients know that, look, I will be checking in on, from 12 to 1 on Saturday. If it's not urgent, I'll get to it then. So then they know. And obviously if it's an emergency, it's an emergency. But quite typically they're not emergencies, but being available there, especially during this time, and just giving that, I think one of the things I think is important there is give your over service and over communicate and especially over communicate with your clients is really important, and go that extra mile with them for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of trivia and games. We installed the Donut app for Slack, which I think it's going to start doing it soon. It'll randomly match people up to kind of have a coffee. And then just have a 15-minute coffee and just talk, right? So it's kind of a cool way of doing it. Let's see here. Courtney says, my friend runs a sales team and they do a Friday fun time every week where they do remote games, virtual paint night, virtual yoga. I don't know. Oh, okay. They do virtual yoga classes
virtual
together.
Yoga.
Hey, why not?
Yeah, so funny.
Cool. But no, those are all good things, right? And the other thing I think is just from a sanity perspective is taking that time to just talk to people, like have a video call, just checking in. How's it going? How you doing? What's new? Right? What's new? What's exciting? Kind of thing.
For sure.
Cool. So one thing to talk about here is, and our last thing before we wrap up, I think other than Justin's camera, we've been relatively successful here. Stacy says yes, yoga. Yeah, I know, but I don't know if I want to do yoga on a Zoom call with 10 other people. That's all I'm saying.
No, it was. I watched them do it, and it was kind of weird. And the yogis' Wi-Fi dropped out too in the middle of it, so it was really awkward.
Oh no!
But hey, to each their own. Actually, I do have a business contact that has a yoga studio that they unfortunately had just opened in Waterloo. And what she was doing is now she's holding morning classes for free. That's a great way to do it.
Nice.
A free morning class on Facebook Live. And, you think about it is, and unfortunately, those are some of the hardest hit businesses, right? Like health and wellness, like those kinds of places.
And I think, you know what, like it gives people a chance to learn a new skill or a new habit, especially during these times, right? Like I know a lot more people are trying to meditate and learn how to like properly meditate and things, right? And it's a great skill to have and a great habit for sure. So yeah, that's a very unique opportunity that they're taking advantage from. That's a great strategy for sure.
It's smart because like you'd be exposing your business and your service to people that may have never considered wanting to do that, but now that they're locked up, they're like, hey, I'll give it a shot. Right. And then when you come out of this, you've potentially got, and like it's great, right? I don't mean that in that sense, but what is great is using this opportunity as a business to really build that loyalty with your customers. Because when they come back, then she may have classes filled, right? Kind of right away by providing those free classes online. Now, in my mind, if I had a business like that, that would be something that would be part of your marketing and communication strategy, like go live, right? 3 days a week with free morning yoga class. It's
its own like almost like brand campaign.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Okay, so moving right along, one thing we did want to talk about was keeping up with trends during COVID-19. And this is actually really quite important. I think trends in general are important for any business, and learning how to use Google Trends. Sorry, I just wanted to make one point, and I know there's a few people that have it. I put a link in earlier this week in our Slack channel to the Yale School. There's a course on mindfulness and how to attain calm. It's free. Highly recommend it, especially as time goes on now. I think people are going to you can start to get more frustrated, especially if you're really not getting out at all. Definitely worth the time. I don't know if anyone's got that link handy. If they can just it's in Slack, and maybe just pop it in the chat. That would be super helpful. Okay, so just a quick how-to for a couple minutes on Google Trends. Now, obviously, coronavirus search trends. Now, these are not necessarily things that a lot of businesses would participate in, because a lot of these are pretty popular, right? But there are a number of ways you use Google Trends to see what people are searching for and trending, and it's actually really powerful. So you could actually use different types of, so if I do something like, so I'm trying to compare something. Let's just use online meetings as an example. Okay. So this is how Google Trends works. One, you see the countries by the interest by region. But if I'm looking at Canada or the US, right? So I can just go to Canada. And then I can say, hey, look, it peaked on the 22nd to the 28th. So what this is here is on this scale from 100, from 0 to 100, is what's called the velocity. Oh, Matt Ross is saying good info. Hey, Matthew Ross. Thank you, sir.
Hey.
Matt's actually a professional broadcaster, so this is
nice.
My feeble attempt to have a radio voice. So when you're looking, you can use your search terms, and let's just do this, and let's say, okay, now this is what's going to happen here. It will compare the velocity of the two terms against each other. So online meetings looks like, hey, it's killing it, right? But watch if I do Zoom. Now that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you see that in relation to each other, online meetings versus Zoom, it's not trending, if that makes sense. Online meetings is not trending in relation to how quickly Zoom is trending. It's still trending, but the volume and the weight of it is not there, right?
Yep.
And so you can search, and you can search for, it's actually quite accurate in terms of how you can search for your own local stuff. So let's do this. And
I'd actually be intrigued to see Microsoft Teams.
Let's see. Oops. Microsoft.
I'm interested
Teams.
to see virtual board games like Jackbox and things like that. because I think a lot of people have been using those to have game nights with family and stuff.
So here you go. Interesting. I would have thought that Microsoft Teams is getting a big boost over this versus Slack. Mainly because Microsoft's pushing it, but they've actually refined it. But, you know, it's one of those, I think it's one of those things with Microsoft Teams where it's, people are very comfortable with Microsoft products, a certain segment of the world.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very, very comfortable with Microsoft. So you can see here that it's a trend. So for example, like something to do here, although it's not trending as quickly, it's still on a trend path. So once again, I just want to reinforce, this is velocity. It is not the total number of searches. Okay? The total number of searches varies wildly. This is the interest or the velocity over time. When it's at 100 means it's peak trending, right? When it's at 89, it's still trending at a high velocity, just not as fast as it was before. That makes sense. So in terms of anybody doing any kind of marketing, especially obviously if you're an SEO content creator, a business person trying to figure out what should I write about, right? Go to Google Trends and you can get literally an almost unlimited number of ideas from this based on all sorts of different things. And you see what's recently trending, and typically it's obviously all over, Dr. Phil got himself in some trouble on Fox News by making some unwarranted claims. But you see all of this stuff happening here, right?
Yeah.
So just a tool that I think maybe not everybody might be familiar with. And they are real-time search trends. Like, these do not take long for Google to process. They're actually incredibly fast. So, you'll see obviously all sorts of different types of content, but you can do it by country.
Yep.
Right? And you see all of these different things. So if you're a small business and a small business person and you're trying to figure out what to write about, I think one thing, if you're going to do some like blogging or social media posting or whatever you might be doing, you can certainly go here. And for example, like, I don't know, if you're in real estate and mortgage, right? Let's see what mortgage relief looks like. And this is a topical thing. You can see that mortgage relief has been a big topic. It's reduced itself, and you know why it's reduced itself? I can tell you why right now. That's the end of the month. That's the beginning of the month. I'm not going to make my mortgage. I'm going to have trouble. Well, it's the end of the month I made it, or whatever ended up happening, and then it goes down. What's going to happen at the end of this month is going to spike up again.
Yep.
Right? So you can...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, people don't worry about it in the middle of the month. It's like when it comes close to the end of the month. So, like, looking at these kinds of things and how people react to those trends is super important. And again, this is a free tool. Anybody can access it. You can type in anything you want, and even for local terms, it will give you your relative trend. And once again, important to note, it is not search volume based. If I put in, Kitchener mortgage relief or Waterloo mortgage relief, I get the trend and the interest of that. If it's trending up because there were 1,000 searches, then 10,000 searches, that'll be a velocity of 100, right?
Yeah.
But if I put it against Zoom conferencing, it wouldn't even register on the map because Zoom's trending way more.
For sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully that makes sense. I don't want to get too technical on Google Trends.
Makes sense to me.
Oh, it does. Yeah, it totally does.
Cool. All right, everyone. Okay, that didn't work. We went a little bit over time, but it was worth it. And Matt thought we didn't have much to talk about today before.
Oh, we had tons.
Tons. We've always got tons.
Yeah,
All right, everybody. Well, thanks a lot for joining us, and thanks to everybody. I think we had concurrently 21 concurrent viewers across the board at its peak, so that's nice. Awesome. Feel free, as always, if you've got any questions, please share this live if you think it'd be helpful for anybody that you know in your network. And if anybody has any questions, just feel free to drop them in the Facebook comments or the Periscope comments, and we will answer every single one of you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Ready.
All right.
Alrighty, cool. Have a great weekend, guys.
All right. Have
Yeah,
a great
have a good
weekend
one.
all. Stay safe. Enjoy. It's going to warm up if you're in our neck of the woods. It's going to warm up a little bit, and that's kind of nice because it's been a pretty cold week.
Yeah,
Yes.
lots of snow.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Peace.